Fundamentally, he's achieved more than any other politician in the past 30 years of public service. He's listed as one of the 100 most influential people in the 20th century. He's honest. I like him. I think he's talking about issues that matter.
What we need is a political will, and that will is represented by Mr. Nader.
My own individual preference is that someone with views like those of Ralph Nader ought to be receiving the respectful attention, and I hope the votes of millions of Americans come November.
I'm very much behind my dear brother Ralph Nader. I think his voice at this particular historical moment is crucial, indispensable. I want to make it as visible and potent as I can.
The choice between the Democratic and Republican parties has become narrower and narrower. They're essentially one corporate party with two heads, Republican and Democrat, each wearing different makeup. They provide us every 4 years with a choice between the bad and the worst. Our country needs a choice between the good and the better. These two parties need more competition, and the Green Party, with its fundamental economic, social, political reform platform, universal health insurance, renewable energy, electoral reform, access to government, cleaner elections, access to the media, and above all, strengthening our democracy is a platform that more Americans should learn about. A vote for the Green Party presidential and vice presidential candidates will be a wake-up call. It will help put a new political party that's progressive, competent, and efficient on the ballot in future elections. And above all, it will focus on the instruments and strengthening of our democratic process.
When Ralph Nader was a boy, his daddy brought him home a toy, and the dang thing fell apart that very day. Ralphie hollered long and loud, then he calmed down and he vowed he would get the crooks who cheated him that way. Now they can't tempt him, they can't scare him, they can't bribe him, heaven knows, 'cause $1 million he'd gladly sacrifice. His life is dedicated to protecting us from those who try to sell us shoddy merchandise. Go on and ride, Ralph Nader, ride. Straight ahead with confidence and pride. All across our mighty nation, folks are filled with admiration, and we're proud we got Ralph Nader on our side. Now some supermarket hustlers, just like old-time cattle rustlers, were trying to pull a fast one with their meat. But oblivious to danger, that Ivy League Lone Ranger said, "Now hold it, boys, this meat ain't fit to eat." Then Ralph Nader formed a posse, and they ran them rustlers down and showed all the world about their dirty game. Now the common folks all love him, and the crooks are frightened of him. Even corporations tremble at his name. Go on and ride, Ralph Nader, ride. Straight ahead with confidence and pride. All across our mighty nation, folks are filled with admiration, and we're proud we got Ralph Nader on our side. Ralph Nader took the wheel of his brand new automobile, and everything stopped running but the clock. He said, "This engine's just a joke, and I think the brakes are broke. It ain't safe to drive this thing around the block." He walked straight into the factory, called the biggest boss aside, told him, "Better straighten out or you'll be sunk. 'Cause the people will awaken when I show them what you're making. Ain't nothing but a brand new piece of junk." Go on and ride, Ralph Nader, ride. Straight ahead with confidence and pride. All across our mighty nation, folks are filled with admiration, and we're proud we got Ralph Nader on our side. Now in times of boom and bust, we need a leader we can trust, so our way of life don't slide on down the drain. Ralph Nader knows the score, he's got ideas, and what is more, he possesses both a conscience and a brain. He's no sleazy politician, 'cause this man is not for sale, and he's not about to make no shady deal. But he really gets intense in the cause of common sense, so the people know Ralph Nader is for real. Go on and ride, Ralph Nader, ride. We're backing you with confidence and pride. Senior citizens, consumers, teenage kids, and baby boomers, we're all proud. Yes, we are proud. We are proud we got Ralph Nader on our side.
I'm on the Nader team. He's the only candidate that represents my views. He's the only candidate who's willing to make the hard choices.
There really is not much difference between the Democratic and Republican Party. And I think that more and more people are coming to that realization in America right now.
I'm just tired of, voting for the lesser of two evils. I think it's time for a change, and it's time to start asking the tough questions and start to have a dialogue that that means something.
The two major parties, Republican and Democrat, have not only corrupted politics, they have trivialized politics. They are not dealing with the great issues that a democracy should contend with to keep itself strong, such as who decides, who controls, who has voice, who pays, who has the right to participate, to build this country and preserve it for future generations.
I think there is a swelling tide of public sentiment for radically changing. Radical in the sense, it's not really radical in some dark and devious and dangerous way. It's radical in the sense that it would get at the very root of the problem, which is when you have private money involved, people are going to find ways to circumvent whatever regulations are written to try to govern the obtaining and the spending of that kind of money.
It's important to remember that Thomas Jefferson once told us that the purpose of representative government is, quote, to curb the excesses of the moneyed interest. But now in Washington, we do not have a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. We have a government of the Exxons, by the General Motors, for the DuPonts. A government that is a prisoner of big business power.
4 years after the Republican Party's very first national convention, very first, 4 years after, they nominated Abraham Lincoln and he won the presidency. And they were running on a radical platform of the abolition of slavery and the rights of women to vote.
Remember our history. Whenever major issues became election issues, our country got better. The abolition of slavery, the women's right to vote, workers' right to form trade unions, and in recent decades, the environmental, consumer, and disability rights movements, and many other recent efforts to widen the opportunity and the sense and practice of justice in our country.
Some polls have shown that Nader takes support away from Bush as much as from Gore, but if it's taking support away from Gore, so much the better. The Democrats have to be called to account. They shouldn't take the progressive, populist, radical forces for granted, and the only way to remind them that those forces exist is to give them a sharp kick on the shins.
Ralph Nader speaks more to the idealism that many of us carry in our hearts and needs to be supported and encouraged.
I'm voting Nader.
I'm going to vote for him and support him and hope that he can get a little bit of a foothold in the system.
I've always thought that he'd make a terrific president. And rather than being marginalized by the majors, he has found a genuine groove that's really what he's about. And he's been about pretty much the same thing for 35 years.
For many years, we have fought for your family budget, your health and safety. We have championed the cause of consumers and people who believe in a clean environment and a responsive government and a livable wage. We haven't been able to do this without the support of hundreds of thousands of Americans such as yourselves who have sent us their contributions to make our efforts possible. Now I'm running for the presidency of the United States because like you, I'm fed up and I don't want to take it anymore. The two parties are corrupt, the political systems are for sale, our democracy is for sale, and that can't be. And in order to proceed from coast to coast with our presidential campaign, we need your help. We're not taking special interest money like the two political parties who are raising tens of millions of dollars from special interests who want something in return. We want only to provide you with a just America and a responsive, clean government. And we're relying on you to send us your financial contributions in whatever amount you can afford by visiting our website, votenader.com and votenader.org. Thank you.